Hi guys, welcome to 8 Playing Horsemanship. Sorry, I was trying to see how much time I got on there. So it's really windy. It seems like it's always windy whenever I film. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of exercises that I put together. And I love these exercises. Today we have Miss Rose, who will be 4 in June if you're new to the channel. So the 3 exercises I kind of combined them into one. That way she really has to pay attention. So one of them is, if you've seen my other videos, it's putting her on the fence where she's lined up with the fence like this. The other one is a sending exercise where you send them in between you and the fence. And the other one is, it's like on the fence, but it's keeping them square and making them stand there without really having to put them there, lead them there and tell them whoa and make them stand. So they'll be facing like this on the fence. And the reason I do these 3 together is it really makes the horse pay attention. Am I asking you to go around and stand at the fence face first, or am I asking you to go around and send through, turn around, and stand at the fence? So it really makes me pay attention to my body. It really makes me focus and pay attention. Hopefully this video will turn out, and if it doesn't, then we'll have to film it again on another day where it's not windy. So I have a limited amount of time, like always, because I'm filming on a phone. Fun times. So it looks like you can see from that board to this post over here. So I think that's enough room. You won't be able to hear me talk, so I'll have to come up and talk after I do a few times. So I'm just going to start off walking or trotting her at a lunge just to kind of get her paying attention, and we're just going to start right into it. So I want her soft. So there's not really much room in here for a trot, but it's what we got. So the first one, sending her through, yielding her butt, and then we put her straight on the fence. There. So then, tried to move, I didn't ask her to. So then we're going to send her off as if we're sending her behind us. And ask her to hold. So just stand straight. She doesn't have to be perfectly straight. This is good enough. You're going to go back. Ask her to do it this way. I didn't want her to come in. I just want her to stand straight. You see? Good girl. Good girl. So there's no certain way you have to start her in that. I would just start it with a little lunging circle each way just to make sure she is paying attention to you. Now, the way I get her on the fence where she's standing, okay, good girl. The way I get her to stand on the fence sideways like this, I will go over and show you right now. But what I do, to pretty much line her up on the fence, the way I want her to be, ask her to go forward a little bit, and when she gets, I would say about mid-stomach, lined up with me, sometimes sooner than that, depending on how much you've done it with the horse. Then you're going to step back, pull their head, and swing the rope at their butt, and they're going to pivot on their hind end and turn in and stand on the side of the fence. Now, in the beginning, I didn't do it that way. In the beginning, I kind of, I pulled her head and then pushed her over like this. Good girl. And that's pretty much what you're doing. You're just asking her to walk and do it kind of on her own. So it's a good starting point. So I'm going to go show you how we get her to do that. start off with the way that you want her to stand. Put her butt over. Move her butt. She'll take her more over, but that's okay. I'm going to ask her to go forward, step back, pull her head, and step towards her butt. So that's how you do that. So that's the reason that you step back, is because she's kind of pivoting and having to come into your space. But it's also a good technique because it's asking her to come into your space, but then automatically get back out of your space. I don't really care about the whole space thing if the horse isn't pushy. She's not really pushy unless there's food, so I don't really care about it. But some people are more, I want the horse out of my space. And then other people are more, come here. Other people are more, get up here, I want to be all over you. And I'm in the middle. So some people ask me, how do you get them to stand straight up the fence like this? Where her head's kind of like this and she's straight. And it's just like this. When I'm working on her, I'll ask her to back up just by shaking my rope. And I'll ask her to come forward. And I keep my feet still and she just goes straight back and forth. And eventually she figures that out and figures, see how she just straightened herself out? She's still straightening herself out and I don't want her to, so I'm going to ask her to back up. The reason I asked her to back up is she kept moving over and over. I thought she was straightening herself out because it's what she looked like she was doing, but she just kind of worked with it. It's just like when you're riding them. If you can't stop them, some people run them into the fence. You know, there's not a certain way to run them into the fence. You just kind of grab your saddle horn and you grab your reins and you let them run into the fence and stop. So sometimes if, you know, they're a little impatient, they're a little on top of you, sometimes you can just kind of send them into the fence and make them figure it out like this. So we're going to go back and do the exercise a few more times, and you don't have to do it any certain way, any certain order. I would just start off doing something to get the horse's attention, whether that's backing them up, bringing them forward, petting them, brushing them, tying them up and walking behind them, lunging them in a circle. You know, there's a ton of different ways people get their horses to pay attention to them. So, wouldn't recommend using food, just because you should, I'm not asking you to back, come here. Just because you should be able to work your horse without having to use food. I mean, sometimes in the beginning it's okay, but I've had her here for almost 2 years. We shouldn't be using food, and we're not. So, that's just my opinion. Everybody's opinion is different. I do want more energy. It doesn't have to be a trot, but I would like a good sized fast walk. So just kind of pin in her ears, start a little bit. So we're going to run her into the fence. Kind of walk up with her. That's another thing you can do, walk up with her. Don't want her to face me. And ask her back. Bring her over. And then push your head over. There. Not exactly straight, but it's better. Come on. Move those feet. Bring her here. That's okay, she got ahead of herself and we thought I was going to ask her to come forward. So we're going to do things in here. You can walk in this way, bring her up by the eye, and you can step over that way. Look for her butt. And a tap. There. She took that step. So there's a couple different ways you can get them on a fence. It's whatever you and the horse are comfortable with. So I'm going to tap on her until she lifts up her face. There. She had attitude, but she did it. Put her on the fence. Step over. Bring her over. She should move that butt. I'm going to swing, walk, swing, there. I want that back leg over there. So I'm going to tap, there. Good. So don't be in front of them when you're doing that, because they're going to walk forward to figure out what you're asking, and they will walk, some horses will walk on top of you, and some horses will walk around you, and if they just look like they're ignoring you, but they're not, they're trying to figure out what you're asking. Like a little trot. There. So once she gave me that little trot, I quit. I'm going to ask her to go through. I'm going to ask her to yield. There. I'm going to ask her to go through again. I'm going to ask her to yield. And I'm going to push her on the fence. There. So the reason I tapped on her a little bit there is because I asked her to move over, and instead she went forward. So when I started to swing the rope and tap again, I don't know if you could see it, but she took a side step with her front feet. You gotta reward the small things. She hasn't been worked with like this since the last video that you guys seen of her. So we've been riding because the weather's been a little bit better. So she's kind of rusty on the groundwork. So don't just get pissed off and start beating the shit out of your horse. I'm not beating the shit out of her. I'm just tapping her with the rope, and I keep tapping and keep tapping and keep tapping until she does it. Or if I have to, tap a little harder. I'm trying not to use the whips as much. I don't really mind using whips as long as you're not beating the crap out of the horse. But, you know, if they're not responding to the spanking of the rope or to your body language, you can use a whip. So I don't know, it's just personal preference, just like the bits and the spurs and everything like that. It's all personal preference of what you and your horse are comfortable with. So we're just gonna go back and do that a couple more times. The reason I'm making her trot, even though there's not very much room, is just to make sure I can ask her to trot. I mean, there's enough room for her to do a small little trot. Not this big, giant, huge circle of a trot, no. But it's enough to kind of get her feet moving. So now I'm going to introduce the cues that I have been introducing while riding. So, is walk, is trot, and is canter. You can do it 2, 3, 5, whatever times until the horse kind of figures it out. If you have to kind of push him with the end of the rope or the whip or your spurs or whatever, your boots, whatever you're riding or working on the ground with, and just kind of nudge on him and say, this is what I'm asking you to do. What I kind of did was I free lunged her and her two buddies, and when they hit a certain pace, I kind of added that cue, and she figured it out pretty quickly. But when we ponied Skyla yesterday, Rose acted like she didn't really know what I was asking, and I've ridden her the last week, haven't used my spurs, haven't used my boots, just used my cues, and she would do it. So I think yesterday she was kind of like, huh, do I have to listen when Skyla's here? She isn't doing anything to be mean, she's just testing me. She's paying attention, do I have to? Do I really have to? So I kind of got on her a little bit yesterday and got after her. And the other reason I was doing it when I was ponying Skyla, some people would be like, well, why are you doing it if you're ponying a horse? Well, the reason I did it when I was ponying is I want Skyla to learn those cues too. So when she gains her weight back, Buster's kind of being a pig and pushing them off, so I've got 3 different pins set up, and they get fed separately. As soon as they're done, they're all turned back in together. When I eventually get back on Skyla, I want her to already know the cues and we can just go. You know, it may not happen that way, but that's what I'm planning. I'm doing light groundwork with her just because I do want to keep her in somewhat of shape. I'm not doing enough to where she's dropping weight, in case any of you are wondering. So I'm going to go back and do it, and I'm going to add my cues this time, and I'm probably going to have to end the video soon because it'll probably cut off in the next 10 minutes or so. I really gotta find something else to film with. Back up. So you should be able just to shake the rope. Some people like it when they go like that. I'm not a big fan of that just because I think it's a little easier to swing the rope than to get up by their face and go like that. It makes her a little worried, so I can work on her as a desensitizing tool. But if you were going to teach her to back up off of this, you wouldn't want to desensitize them too much from it because then they learn to ignore it. I'm going to push her out. Didn't ask her to stand still. I didn't do her. Great job. Oh. Yeah, I'm still figuring out my own cues. Cool. So we can't do canter. It's too small of a space. Right there, I asked her to move out, and she just kind of walked in towards me. She's in the house. So that's the other thing. I keep my cues up. Whoa. I keep my cues up until their attitude stops most of the time. When I finally got her to trot, she wasn't really happy about it. She kind of had her ears back. She was kind of moving like, I don't wanna. So sometimes keeping the pressure up until their attitude changes teaches them, hey, well, just because you do what I ask, the attitude has to quit too. So, not always. I do it once in a while if their attitudes are really bad. Her attitude wasn't really bad, but if they get really bad, then for 2 or 3 days I'll do it, and then I'll take it away and kind of see what they do. If they're consistently bad attitude, just keep doing it. It's just like desensitizing, you know? Just because they keep moving doesn't mean you stop. You gotta keep doing it. So, I'm gonna back her up to the end of the lead rope. See how light I am on the rope? I'm working on getting lighter. So I'm gonna get a little rough because she's not really taking me seriously. I mean, she's moving, but there. That attitude I like, so I'm gonna go reward that. Yeah. So what I meant a minute ago was she was moving, but she's not really awake. So when I got a little bigger on the rope, she kind of wakes up and takes that step back. She should take that fast of a step back when I do this. So she's not paying attention to me, she's paying attention to the wind. There. Now she's starting to pay attention. Come forward. So we're going to do it one more time. Whoa. Reward it. I want her to quit taking her head away. Not all horses, but quite a few like their eyes rubbed. Now, I didn't ask her to come forward, so right there I am going to get after her. So, I mean, she normally doesn't come forward until I give a light pull and give a cue or a come cue. Come. There. So she took a step, so leave her alone. So when I want her to back up, I want enthusiasm. So you're going to see now that I turn and face her, she should, I mean she will, she should back up a little faster. Yeah, you get a hold of your rope and kind of correct her. Just to get her to face you. What a lot of horses do is they kind of go sideways. And not in all cases, but most cases, some cases, whatever. They're trying to get away from you, to get away from the pressure. So she should back up straight. So see how I'm just tapping the rope? She already backed up a little quicker that time, didn't she? So I'm going to wiggle the rope. She's backing up just a little bit more respectfully. It's not as dull. Her ears are forward. So I'm going to shake the rope. Now I really want her to back up fast. So you notice I gave her a couple options before I just went straight to jerking on her. I kind of gave her a chance to pick up those feet and move. Today she's like, and lazy. And that's one of the reasons I'm not riding her, is because she's kind of feeling lazy today. And she's been ridden every day for the last week and a half. So having a day off, since she's going to have a lady riding her for some barrel lessons. So having a day off before her barrel lessons start, it's not a bad idea for her. Just doing some groundwork is enough. So I'm going to shake my rope. She's ignoring, so I'm going to swish it. The reason I popped it is because she flat out ignored it. But you notice I didn't keep jerking. I gave her the opportunity after I jerked to kind of redeem herself and go off a little lighter pressure. Rose. And you can say, well, isn't that your canter and your trot cue? Yeah, but you can always use them as forward cues too. Some horses, you know, they're kind of specific with their cues. Other horses, you can do the same cue for like 4 or 5 different things, and the horse kind of figures out you and kind of figures out what you want and what you're meaning by it. So, you know, it just kind of depends on you. I'm also getting used to using the cues. I just introduced them this last week, so I'm still getting used to them myself. So eventually I will just use them for those certain speeds and use something else for everything else. See how I'm doing this and she's kind of going slow? There. I walk into her and she's out her head. I didn't ask her to come forward. So when she comes forward like that, I'm going to really kind of whack that rope and say, I want you to back up. So she's not moving. There, she moved. Now I'm going to wait until she licks and chews before I bring her in. What I've taught these guys, not really taught, but when they relax, I breathe out. So when I breathe out, she should relax. You see her take a big sigh, and can you see it? Her leg is cocked. So it's not always licking and chewing, it's relaxed. You notice when I took a big sigh, she took a big sigh, and man, I hate this. This leg is cocked. So it's all different things. What I've done is whenever they relax, I just stand sideways and then they start to associate that I've relaxed so they can relax. And so yeah. Sorry if I sound, you know, bored or uneducated. I'm just still not used to the whole filming thing, and it sounds, I have planned out what I want to do and how I want to say it and all that in my head, and then you get in front of the camera and it's like, what? So I'm going to ask her to back up a little bit, and wiggle, wiggle, jerk, wiggle, and woo. So she's not relaxing now, but that's okay. We're going to ask her to come forward. And woo. So, I mean, you can kind of go from a wiggle to a jerk. Just don't do 2 wiggles and like 10 jerks, you know. Kind of give them an opportunity to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. She's backing up. Now she's not. Give 1 jerk and then go back to wiggling. And she's not moving. She took a half step. She's not paying attention. And then she moved again. So don't just keep jerking. You kind of have to give them a chance to figure out. And eventually she'll get it. We just need to do a little bit more groundwork. So that's it for today's video. And when the weather gets nice again, after today, it's supposed to start raining and snowing again. So, ugh. So after that weather kind of passes and it gets towards just windy again, I may do a video with Skyla. Or I might do a riding video with Rose. I'm not sure how I'd do that really because I don't have anybody to film me. And this is off of a phone, so it's kind of hard to hold the phone like this on the horse and get the view and pay attention to the horse. So, thank you for watching 8 Pine Horsemanship. Please share, like, subscribe, comment. Nobody's been commenting, and I really want video ideas, or, you know, I'm not a professional trainer. This is only the 2nd horse I've fully trained with the help of my mother. Grew up with horses, but the most training I ever did with a horse before these 2 was desensitizing and horse leading. So yeah, so I'm not a professional, but I would like more clients to train horses to learn. So if you have a horse that needs started or started on the barrel, started on the poles. You know, I'm teaching these guys how to pull barrels, how to let me tie into the saddle and pull barrels. So I'm just teaching a couple different things, just playing around with it. So the video is about to cut off. Thank you so much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, and comment. I really, really, really want to see your guys' comments. And, you know, if you have any tips, that'd be great. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.